Day number 2 here on my brand new Ari Nebo Peak. It had been about 18 months since I've had an e-bike before I built this thing up last week, and I really missed having one. In my opinion, having access to an e-bike is such a hack for your mountain bike riding, in my opinion. So today we're gonna go for a bit of a rip on some of my favorite trails, and I'm gonna discuss the ways in which an e-bike brings value to my riding. So let's get into it. All right, so we've made it to the top of the first climb, and now here is the bike. And that was about 1,500 feet of climbing at around a 125 average heart rate. And it took me about half the amount of time it takes me to do that same climb, same heart rate on an analog bike. And this brings me to my first reason of why I love having an e-bike. So with being able to pedal more efficiently due to the motor, of course, it allows you to log more bike time, improve your riding technique, line choice, braking points, all that good stuff. And in my opinion, riding an e-bike is just such a hack to improve your riding more quickly, simply because you're able to log more laps. And I haven't had one for the last 18 months, as I mentioned earlier in the video, but I am frothing to have one now, and I'm really looking forward to the improvements I'm gonna make in my riding over the next few months of riding this Nebo Peak. So let's get into our first lap of the day. First time riding this trail on this bike, is this only my second day on it. They just held a running race on this actually, so gonna take it slow, as I think the conditions might be a bit different than last time I rode it. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Get a nice smooth nose pick here. Dialed. Couple more loose rocks than last time I was up here. Oh yeah. And we're running the high roller up front, which is my first time riding this tire here at home. Rode it last summer a bit, but still adjusting to it a tad. Okay, really get our braking good here. This is loose right now. Okay. Keep it nice and steady. Bike is feeling nice and solid. Went pretty high with my cockpit setup on this bike, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm running 32 mils of spacers under the stem with a 40 mil rise bar. Focus in here a bit. All right, we've made it to our first little stopping point here. Ew. So we've made it down to Kong now, which we're gonna ride in a second. But before we drop into that, I'm gonna give you a quick look at the bike setup for today. So Ari Nebo Peak, size large, I'm 5'11" for reference. 150 Super Z Bomber Air out back, turbine wheels from Raceface, e-bike specific, XTR brakes, XT shifting, turbine 40 mil rise bars I just chatted about a second ago, 200 mil transfer post, tidal seat, high roller, DHR. Great setup, really happy with it. I did a good amount of suspension testing the other day, my first day riding the bike, got it feeling nice. So let's go ahead and do some more riding. Here we go. Cruising. Here we go. Really into the meat and potatoes of this trail now. This left line is definitely starting to get a hair looser than it once was. All right, this thing's a little splatty, so we're gonna try to get it nice and smooth. Minty. cruising. A little double drop and then a plumber. Sweet. Nice. We're just gonna stop before the last section here. This first feature is a little hairy to be hitting by myself on a 150 mil travel e-bike. So we're just gonna hit the beeline, but solid lap kind of took till the middle end point before I was feeling comfy. But that was my second time riding that trail on an e-bike and shortest travel bike I've ever ridden that trail on at 150. So that's cool. Held its own for sure. So yeah, let's head down and go off to the next part of the ride. So we've made it back to Tundi. Now I'm just gonna have a quick snack and then we're gonna pedal right back up that same climb I just did so I can ride Flying Monkey again, but instead of turning right onto Kong, I'm gonna continue straight on Flying Monkey. That trail is quite technical. There's a lot of rocks. You need to know exactly where they are so you can be precise with your lines. And it's a perfect use for the e-bike, being able to ride it twice in one day comfortably without getting too fatigued so I can really dial in my lines. Looking forward to it. So I'll see you at the top of the trail. Back up on Flying Monkey now for lap number 2. The wind has picked up a ton, so that's something to take into consideration when riding this trail. But we have had a warm-up lap now, so we'll try to ride a little faster. Better pace for sure. Now we're back at Kong, and that was a much faster lap than the first run on that section. So now, instead of going that way, down Kong, we're gonna continue down Flying Monkey. This part I don't know quite as well as the upper section because I tend to just ride Kong most of the time. But hey, that's the beauty of the e-bike. You can pedal up this more and get to know the section a little better. So let's see how it goes. Really happy with how quiet this bike is. So fun. So windy as well. Wind is ripping, that's for sure. Little side hit. And there we go. Lap 2 down Flying Monkey. First part was pretty decent pace, still a lot of room for improvement there. Second bit was pretty average biking on my behalf, but that's okay. That's a part of learning. Don't know that second half too well, but we're gonna get to know it a lot better with having the e-bike in the fleet now. So now we're gonna head over and ride some other trails. Love this thing. Such a big compression right there. We've now made it to the top of the second trail of the day, and it is still windy, so I apologize if this audio is garbage. But I just want to quickly discuss the second way in which riding an e-bike brings a ton of value to my riding in general, and that is with specific heart rate training. So I've been doing a lot of training days with my heart rate monitor on, which is on right now, monitoring my heart rate and trying to stay specifically around zone 2. And on certain trails, the climb's just too steep to stay in zone 2. So I've been riding my analog bike on some more tame trails that have less steep climbs, but simply they're not as fun. So with the e-bike, I'm able to use the power assist from the motor to stay in a better heart rate zone and ride trails that are a bit more fun to me, and it makes my training days a hell of a lot better. So that is just one other way in which I really see a ton of value in the e-bike. So let's hop in to our second trail of the day here. We've got a bit of a lull in the wind right now, so hopefully it stays pretty solid for the lap. So let's have some fun. Ew. This bike is so fun. We just filmed on this trail for the temp release as well. Whew. I'll focus on riding. Yeah. All right, sorry, back to that initial thought, but we just filmed T-Mac and I on this trail for the release of the new Ari Temp, which is their full power e-bike. So that video will be coming out at some point soon. Whew. That was fun. All right. Into the bottom section. Woo! Such a good time. Whew. Now that I think about it, some of that footage we shot on that trail was actually in my Ari Temp intro video that came out a couple weeks ago. So I'll link that down in the description if you want to see some more e-bike ripping. And now we're here at the third and final trail of today's video. This brings us to the third way that I find e-bikes to be incredibly useful. And that is because you're more efficient pedaling up, you're able to test more setups on your bike. So this trail here is actually the trail I used to get my initial suspension setup on this done the other day. I was able to just rip a bunch of quick laps, mess around with high speed compression, low speed compression, volume spacers, all that fun stuff. And it makes all those changes a bit less of a deal because you're not worried about using all your energy pedaling up like you would be on an analog bike. Helps improve your knowledge of bike setup overall, and it's just really, really helpful. So let's hop in to this trail and have some fun. Yeah. That was a hot lap for sure. Whew. All right, so here's a look at the day. 2 hours, 55 minutes, 3,600 feet of climbing, 23.6 miles. Pretty solid day out. I think we're at 9% on the battery according to the app. And that was in the highest power mode on this Fauza 60 motor. Fauza, I guess that's how you say it. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, awesome day riding. Thanks for following along. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this in the future. We'll see you next week for another upload. Peace.